All right, guys, before we jump back into the show, I got to tell you about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that's looking like $1,000,000 without spending $1,000,000.
If you're listening to the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast, you're already a top tier wrestling fan. You care about the history, you care about the storytelling, you care about who really won that promo battle.
So why not dress like it?
Over at Pro Wrestling Tees, you can grab the official Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling merch. And buddy, this isn't some fly by night cheap print situation.
We're talking soft, comfortable tees,
Clean, bold designs.
the kind of shirt that works at a live show, a meetup, or your weekly pay-per-view watch party.
And here's the thing, when you rock the logo, you're not just wearing a shirt, you're repping the show. You're part of the conversation and you're part of the community.
So do me a favor.
Right now, open up that browser.
Search Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling on Pro Wrestling Tees.
Grab the shirt. Maybe grab two. One for you, one for the tag partner in your life.
Support the podcast, support the brand.
And look like you belong in the front row while you're doing it.
All right, let's get back to the show. All right, we're back. And if you made it through part 1, you already know we were cooking.
Now we're leveling up.
Because part 2, this is where things get spicy.
We're jumping to WrestleMania 25, the glow-up era, the this is cinema now phase. The production, the drama, the stakes. This is where WWE starts acting like it knows it's the main character.
And then, yeah, we're going full chaotic energy, previewing WrestleMania 42, Night 1 and Night 2. We're talking predictions, hot takes, probably some wild disagreements, because you already know Mr. Wrestling thinks he's got it all figured out.
I do have it all figured out.
And Mrs. Wrestling is here to keep him humble and maybe expose a bad take or two.
So if you thought part 1 was fun, buckle up.
Because now we're going from history to legacy to what the hell is about to happen. Let's get into part 2. WrestleMania 25. This was the 25th annual WrestleMania and took place on April 5th, 2009 in Houston, Texas, held for wrestlers from the promotion's Raw, SmackDown, and ECW brand divisions. This would also be the last WrestleMania to feature the ECW brand, as it was dissolved in February of 2010, and it was the first WrestleMania of the PG era. For the third consecutive year, WrestleMania broke the record for the highest grossing pay-per-view in WWE history, grossing $6.9 million in ticket sales. WrestleMania 25 generated approximately 960,000 pay-per-view buys, grossing $21 million in revenue, with an attendance of 72,744. It is the 8th largest attendance in WrestleMania history. So the first match is a Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, this is before Money in the Bank was its own show then?
Yeah, correct. This used to be a WrestleMania staple. It was one of the main attractions, to draw people in. I personally loved it. And, I was just rewatching this today. And, just the type of people they had in this match, it wasn't your typical ladder match individuals. So, Kane, Mark Henry, not everybody you would expect to see in a ladder match. But this was, a big deal because at the time, you got a world title match and you had a full year to cash it in.
CM Punk picks up the win in this match. Some of the additional people in it were Christian, Finley with Hornswoggle, Kofi Kingston, and MVP and Shelton Benjamin. This match was only 14 minutes and 24 seconds. That feels kind of quick for Money in the Bank, but I mean, really, how long could it go? How important was Money in the Bank to CM Punk?
Very important. I think that was what put him kind of over the hump, getting him to that top tier level in the WWE, because he toiled in ECW there for a while, and they weren't really doing a whole lot with him, prior to Money in the Bank. So this kind of got him to the next level in that company.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really had huge expectations for him in WWE. So to see him win this, you would have thought someone like Kane, or at the time, MVP was a big deal in WWE. So you expected one of them to win the match, but CM Punk, that normally wasn't Vince's type of guy. So seeing him win this, if you were a Ring of Honor fan, you really enjoyed seeing this.
Then we had the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royale. There was a lot of women in here. I will save you the list, but Santina Morella, which is actually Santino Morella, picks up the win against all these ladies in 5 minutes and 53 seconds. Joe, you're shaking your head. What's that for?
I mean, I just rewatched this the other day. It's like
Ridiculous.
it was awful. I mean, I don't even want to really talk about it. It was that bad.
I mean, we could highlight, this match had Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, a couple of legendary women, but for the most part, none of these women were really anything to write home about, in my opinion.
The returning Sunny.
Oh my gosh, she wasn't in jail or doing porn?
Yeah, this was pre-porn, pre-jail. For me, this was a huge deal, even to get a glimpse of.
It's your OG girlfriend. She was the
Yeah.
one. She took your heart. She
She
probably
was the
still
one.
has it.
She doesn't have it anymore. It's like those memes where it's like your high school crush, and now here she is.
Like Pinterest fails.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1996 Sunny is not 2009 Sunny by any means. I mean, even, I will admit, when we saw her at the Hall of Fame, it was like, wow, she's back, Joe.
Yeah, she looked great. That was 2 years later, 2011. I mean, everyone thought that she was gonna turn it around, and unfortunately, she didn't. But
Oh, no
yeah,
turning around for her. She just kept right on going. All right. Then we had a 3-on-1 handicap elimination match. Chris Jericho picks up the win against Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper with Ric Flair in 8 minutes and 57 seconds. Now, this was kind of like the match to get all of the old guys in it. Is that right? I vaguely remember this match.
So this match was actually supposed to be the celebrity match. So at the time, the movie The Wrestler, which was up for Golden Globes, Academy Awards, Mickey Rourke even won. Rourke, Mickey Rooney's from 60 Minutes. He was a very old man.
Sorry.
Mickey Rourke, who was also a professional boxer, he was supposed to wrestle Chris Jericho, but wanted no part of doing actual wrestling other than for his movie role. So they had him in the crowd and they got the veterans. And the cool thing about this was, yes, this was Piper and Snuka and Steamboat's last WrestleMania match, but this led to the following month where Ricky Steamboat had a proper one-on-one match with Chris Jericho and held his own and looked great and had a fantastic match with Jericho. And, people thought, man, maybe Steamboat could do one more run. But so that was the most memorable thing to come out of this, other than Mickey Rourke punching Jericho at the end of the match. It was what it was. I mean, Snuka was long past what he could do. Same with Piper. Steamboat was the one that actually saved this match, because even Flair, he had just retired the year before. So Steamboat was the one that had to really put it all together.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
go ahead, Mary. No, go ahead.
No, mine's not really, it's not really any wrestling
Oh.
inside. It's just.
No, all I was gonna say is to follow up on what Steve said. I think the plan was for Steamboat to do a few more matches, but he got hurt. He ended up getting like a real bad, like bleeding on the brain from getting hit. Yeah, so that's why he didn't do anything else up until his retirement match with FTR. So, but yeah, he absolutely was factored in to some plans going forward there, which would have been really cool to see. As we grew up watching Ricky Steamboat, so that would have been cool. But go ahead, Mayor.
I'm trying to find the name Legends House. I don't know what year that reality show came out for WWE. Oh, 2014. So it was actually sometime after this. But I had originally watched Legends House, and that what is kind of originally got me into Roddy Piper, because he reminded me of my dad. The way his real life personality was in that show reminded me of my dad, which is part of the reason why I like him so much, because he's just like a curmudgeon and flies off the handle, and that says a lot about my dad. But I just, I think I just loved seeing the legends in this match. Chris Jericho, he's in not my Hall of Fame, my Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. Like, love him. And so I think for me, this was just a fun match just to see all the old guys. And of course, Ric Flair, who's also an old guy, but We had next an Extreme Rules match. Matt Hardy defeats Jeff Hardy in 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Is that what we were watching today? This
Yep.
is when Jeff Hardy had different face paint. He was different in this.
Yeah, this was, the first time the Hardys had gone against each other in a one-on-one match. And, the thing that will always stand out to me in this match is the most awkward, table dive towards the end of the match where they stacked up two tables on top of each other, but they put Jeff put Matt on the bottom table. So then he jumped from the ring through the top table onto Matt on the bottom table, which didn't make any sense because you put your own self through a table to then put yourself through another table onto somebody. So that'll always stand out to me. It was also the beginning of the end for Matt Hardy in WWE until he made his big return, and this actually started Matt Hardy on his independent and TNA journey, which was, I think, Matt Hardy's best work. And this allowed Jeff to, essentially go down some bad roads, but also have, the biggest singles push of his entire life being on his own without Matt even in the company.
Yeah, this match was it was a solid match. I mean, a little bit of plunder, and I bet you that poor that the poor guys taking that table spot, that had to be brutal for both of them because they're so awkward looking. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to add. Steve kind of summed it all up there, and I agree. Jeff Hardy, what could have been with him, still a big name in modern wrestling, but man, that guy really sabotaged himself, and you feel bad when you go back and watch it.
And we had a short and sweet match, Intercontinental title match. Rey Mysterio picks up the win against JBL in 21 seconds. Loved Rey Mysterio's gear. Shout out was it to the Joker character or specifically to, what's the guy's name?
Heath Ledger,
Yeah, was it a throwback to Heath Ledger or like a nod to him?
because that movie had just recently come out.
He died right around that time. So this was a JBL retirement match. That seems like no chance, nothing. Was this planned or was it a shoot when he's like, or a work where he's like, I quit?
No, it was all planned. He wanted to wind down, and I mean, a lot of people don't know, like he was really close with Eddie Guerrero, and in his personal life, and he got close with Ray because of that as well. So he wanted to put Ray over. Not that Ray needed it, but he wanted to put Ray over in a big way on his last match, and he certainly did that. It was a squash. So
That's crazy. The big boot to the face, though, right in the beginning of the match.
yeah,
JBL, I mean, we could probably do a whole episode on him, but I mean, this character of JBL versus when he was with when he was with Farouk, he just looked like a slime ball, like a sleaze bag. Like anytime I watched him in this character. Anyways, moving on, singles match. This was The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, 30 minutes and 42 seconds. Now, this was the first of back-to-back Mania matches for these two, and we were 1 year away from the retirement of HBK. So how big was this match at this time?
Yeah, this was huge. At the time, probably the greatest wrestling match since Steamboat Flair. This was fantastic. And, you really couldn't expect anything less from these two. And the fact that they weren't even in the main event or the semi-main event, added fuel to their motivation. And, I feel like these last two Undertaker Shawn Michaels matches were probably like similar to what we were saying about Andre, the beginning of the end for the Undertaker. Because after this, felt like this was after the Shawn matches, Joe. This is where we got to see the Undertaker's streak, and we got to see up until the end of the streak. And it felt like after these two matches with Shawn, it then became like the gimmick matches until he got back in the ring with CM Punk and had like just an actual wrestling match. But this was great. Shawn was, even, in going into the final year of his career, he was still having spectacular matches. I mean, Ric Flair said it best, he could have a match with a broomstick and it would be, 5 stars.
Insane.
yeah. I mean, arguably, but probably at that point, one of definitely the top, probably 3 or 5 matches in North American, big pro wrestling history. I know Sean was interviewed I think it was when he did the Hall of Fame, and I remember reading it, and he thought about retiring after that match. Not going another year. He was. I think he was in the car with his wife going back to the hotel or something to that effect, and he was like, he said to her something like, "I don't know that I can do any better than that." you know. So he obviously stayed with the plan of building to them again. The following years. Um, just the talent that Shawn Michaels had. You take 5 years off, you come back, and it's like you never missed a beat. And he wrestled for you know another almost 10 years when he came back. So, and Undertaker, like Steve said, the last two Shawn Michaels matches were kind of his last big matches. Like I said, he had a good one with Punk. But yeah, I mean, this was truly the beginning of the end of an era. We saw him and Triple H go at it. In
Twice.
Miami, yeah, in Atlanta and Miami. Those were good matches also. I think 28 and 29 with Triple H and Punk were his last two really good matches that he had. So, yeah, I'm with you 100% there, Steve.
I think I loved Shawn Michaels at this time. I mean, I went through a phase when we were watching all the WrestleManias together a lot, like 10 years ago now. And anything Shawn Michaels, I just couldn't get enough of it because I just loved the way he performs and sells, and everything is just like holds such weight. Like if he really was fighting a broomstick, it would be the match of his life and he would sell it and you'd believe it. And I think he's, one of the all-time, I mean, it goes without saying that he's one of the all-time greats. That's obvious, but yeah, he's an incredible wrestler and so much fun to watch. And yeah. Then we had a world heavyweight title triple threat match. John Cena picks up the win against Edge with Chavo Guerrero, Vicky Guerrero, and then of course his final opponent was the Big Show, 14 minutes and 43 seconds. This was a title change for Big Show. Who had the title? I don't even know. I didn't see this match.
Edge did.
Okay. Was Vicky Guerrero supposed to be his girlfriend at this time? What a weird thing. Very weird.
Then she left Edge for Big Show.
Oh, okay. It's the boots.
And
Didn't
if I remember correctly, Joe, there was talks at this time of bringing Hogan back to potentially team with Cena in a match, because this was Cena coming off of that huge biceps injury. And, the talk was, well, let's put Cena and Hogan in a tag match. You have, the biggest name of the 80s and 90s with the biggest name in the 2000s. And in my eyes, if they would have did, like, let's just say Cena and Hogan against Edge and Big Show, I mean, Big Show won his first world title and his first match against Hogan, and Edge, had, a previous run where he was partners with Hulk Hogan. So it would have been a great story. I think, for WrestleMania 25 would have been something special to see.
Yeah, I think they actually that Netflix, I think it's Netflix documentary that's coming out on Hogan soon. It's the last interview he did before he passed. I think they touch on this from what I remember seeing. But yeah, there was definitely talks of him and Cena. Obviously, it didn't happen, but that would have been a really really cool moment. To blend the history and the generations there.
Because his TNA run started right after this, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
All right, then we had the last and final match, the WWE Heavyweight title match. Triple H picks up the win against Randy Orton in 23 minutes and 35 seconds. Steve, what do you have for us on this match?
So it just shows you, the main event, WrestleMania 25, Randy Orton wrestling for the world title. Fast forward 17 years later, there he is again, still in the main event picture, still going for the world title, which is huge because, after this year, Randy Orton would have performed in 21 half of WrestleMania's history. Randy Orton has been a part of. And, chances are he was probably there at WrestleMania 1 or watching it because his old man was in the main event. So, it's just spectacular. And it shows you how impactful someone like Randy is. And we'll touch on him here in just a few moments. But, Triple H, this was the beginning of the end of his run. His last world title, well, not his last, but his last is not, the authority or a placeholder to get somebody over. His last true run as world champion. And, it was an okay match, but, This is where, I know me personally, I started to shift away from WWE and really started focusing heavy on the independents because I started getting tired of like the same old stuff, seeing the same people on top, the same things that a lot of fans are seeing right now. It's the same 4 or 5 guys on top. So history continues to repeat itself. And at the time, Joe, you'll be my testament to this. I was a diehard Ring of Honor fan. And I thought, they had the best wrestling in the world to the point at our first WrestleMania, you guys were ready to tell me to shut up and go away because I thought I thought Kevin Owens was going to be the next big thing. And everybody thought I was insane that a fat guy in shorts was never going to be in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on the match just a little bit, the story of this match, the story leading into this match should not have headlined this show. This was a personal grudge because Orton had gone after Stephanie and RKO'd her and kissed her, and while Triple H is handcuffed to the ropes, and they made it personal in the storyline. So the match, the story that they were trying to tell during the match wasn't a main event story. They could have still had the world title match, but they should have put Shawn and Taker on last.
This should have been the opener.
Yeah, if anything, it should have been the opener. Yeah. So, but like I said, I got my Randy Orton hoodie on right now. So, he's been around a long time. He's still, has good matches. He still looks good. Like I said, we'll touch on this year's WrestleMania here coming up shortly.
My next t-shirt purchase is going to be a Chris Jericho one. What about you guys?
I don't think that far.
I really like the FTR shirt they had on last night with them and Stoke.
Huh?
I really like that one. I thought that was a good T-shirt. If Speedball gets a nice one, I'd get one, or a Kyle Fletcher. I was gonna get you a Pat McAfee shirt.
Me? Pat McAfee?
Yeah,
I like that guy.
nobody does, according to Cody and CM Punk.
Well, he's a heel right now, so they're going to say that, but... All right, so that was WrestleMania 25, the spectacle, the drama. Okay, yeah, this is peak WWE flexing on everybody moment.
Here's the thing, that was then.
Now, we're in the era of go big or go home. The WWE said, nah, we're going big twice.
Because for the second year in a row, we've got a 2-night WrestleMania 42. And we're taking the party back to Las Vegas, Nevada, Sin City.
Which honestly feels right because WrestleMania in Las Vegas is basically wrestling's virgin, which honestly feels right because WrestleMania in Vegas is probably basically wrestling's version of what happens here ends up all over social media 5 minutes later.
This isn't just a show anymore. It's a full-blown weekend takeover.
Massive entrances, celebrity energy, title implications everywhere. And yeah, probably a few moments where we're all sitting there like, did they really just do that?
So now the question is, who leaves Vegas a legend and who leaves wondering what just happened?
Let's break down night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania 42. WrestleMania 42 initially set to take place at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana on April 11th and 12th. WrestleMania 42 was relocated back to the Las Vegas Valley and pushed back a week due to the financial success of 2025's WrestleMania 41, with Las Vegas offering a higher bid to again host the event. This will be the third WrestleMania in the Las Vegas area, including WrestleMania 9 in 1993, and the second consecutive held at the venue, marking only the second time WrestleMania will be held at the same venue in consecutive years. This will be the first WrestleMania to live stream on the ESPN streaming service in the United States, and the first WrestleMania to air live on ESPN's linear channels, as the first hour of each night will also air on ESPN2 and ESPN respectively. Retired wrestler John Cena is set to host the event, which I think is silly, but it'll be nice to see him. So for night 1, we do have a 6-man tag team match. So LA Knight, yeah, and the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, versus IShowSpeed and The Vision, Austin Theory and Logan Paul. Now, is Braun Breaker out for like a while, or is he gonna like come and spear IShowSpeed again?
He's cleared, so
He's totally he's gonna get IShowSpeed again. He's gonna kill
cleared.
him this time.
He's been cleared since the last pay-per-view, so I would expect him to show up tomorrow night, not on WrestleMania. So he'll be on, I would imagine, on that Raw. if not thereafter.
I mean, but isn't he the big deal of the Vision? Like, why wouldn't he show up at WrestleMania? Don't you think he'd be upset about that?
Yeah, but it happened. This is what they do. If they don't have an exact place for you, they're going to hold you out until the night after and make the big return. They got enough, social media power with Speed and Logan Paul in this, and this is going to be on ESPN, so it's a big deal for them. And I got flagged on Twitter for sharing what happened today with main event Jay Uso. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but Jay was on It Is What It Is podcast with Cameron and Mace, and the interview was going horrible. And, whether it's a shoot or whether it's a work, it is what it is. But Jay and Cameron were getting into it, and, Cameron was basically calling him out saying, he doesn't smell what, Jay is cooking, and he's not his dad. And it got to the point where Jay attacked Cameron, pulled him over the desk, and started beating him up on the middle of his show. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out here. If we get Marry Your Favorite Rapper Cameron showing up at WrestleMania, which would be awesome to see.
He's the one that does Touch It or Not. Oh my God, that song.
That's going to be his entrance music.
Yeah, right. They would never let them do that. Joe, did you have any thoughts about the six-man tag team match?
My only thought was we'll find out if it's that confrontation was legit or not. If he either shows up at the show or if he files a lawsuit. So,
We're going to find out. Then we have an unsanctioned match, Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu.
I'm personally excited for this match. I'm a big Jacob Fatu fan, and I think this, along with the Gunther Rollins match, has a chance to be the best match of the weekend for WWE. Rumors are Drew McIntyre is going to be going to film The Highlander soon, so if he is going to be taking some time off, I would expect him to go all out. And Jacob, always puts on a show, so I'm expecting very good things out of this match here, and I expect Jacob to pick up the win.
yeah, I'm with Steve. I think put Jacob over. Drew's going to probably take some time off. So I think that's the right call.
I think putting Drew McIntyre in the Highlander movie is the right call. I used to love that show back in the day, 100 years ago.
There can only be one.
Then we had the we're having the WWE Women's Tag Team Title Fatal 4 match, The Immovable Objects versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus the Bella Twins. I feel like this is going to be an extended pee break for a lot of people with this match and then the following match, although I might like the following match a little bit more. But does anybody have any thoughts, any predictions? Who's the current champ right now, the tag team champs?
The Irresistible Forces, Lash Legend and Nia Jax.
Wow.
And
double D's, Mayor.
Double D's. No double D's to be found, except for maybe on Nikki Bella, but I digress.
Yeah, I'm not excited about this match at all. I would much rather see a Charlotte versus Bayley one-on-one match. I'm going to ask the same question. Who in the blue hell has asked for the Bella Twins to come back on WWE TV? Because it certainly wasn't me. And, they weren't good enough in the Divas era, let alone now when we actually have, real working women. I mean, I would much rather see, Saul Ruka, Blake Monroe, even JC Jane, even though I'm not a JC Jane fan, but the Bella's taking somebody's spot. I mean, it is what it is. The best part about Media Week this week is Chad Ochocinco is trying to hook up Nia Jax with Shannon Sharp, Joe. So that was the funniest thing I seen on the internet today.
About Ochocinco.
As long as Charlotte and Bayley and Lyra are the main people in the ring, it should be okay. Other than that, I'm with Steve. I'm not really looking forward to this one.
I'm not a Lyra fan.
Not either.
She's got a good look, but I don't like her mic work. I think she always looks like she's on the verge of crying in the ring to me. Like if something goes wrong, she's just going to start pouting and, breaking down in the corner.
I mean, she's a good in-ring worker. That's why I said that.
Is she though?
I mean, she's better than the majority of the rest of them in there other than Bayley and Charlotte.
Oh,
that's what I mean. Like if she's not going to have a bad, in-ring match. That's all I was getting at.
Yeah. I mean, compared to the Bellas, sure. Yeah. She's, she's one of the best. She's the greatest of all time compared to the Bellas. I mean, what in the hell has Brie Bella done in the last 10 years to get a title match. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
rather see her husband in a match than her.
Yeah.
Duh, everybody would. It's Daniel
Yeah.
freaking Bryan or Bryan
Yeah.
Danielson.
You know, I'm good. Both the Bellas, you can go sell wine in the parking lot. I'm all set.
All right, let's move on to the WWE Women's Intercontinental title match. I don't like AJ Lee. I'm just not into her. I don't know if I would have been into her in her, original run where she was supposedly really good. Versus Becky Lynch. I do like Becky Lynch. I don't know. I just like her a lot. I don't know why. I mean, I don't like her particularly right now, but I think I don't really have much to say. I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not looking forward to the match, but I think I look forward to it more than the other match. So, wow, you guys are men of few words.
No, it's just there's nothing to look forward to. I mean, Becky's fallen so far. She should have stayed babyface. She wanted to be a heel. People care they don't care as much about her anymore, unfortunately. You know, she was the most popular wrestler in that company for a time period.
For a while.
Yeah, so it's like I'm just like there's not like I said, there's just not a lot to get excited about.
Yeah. And what I said about the Bellas, the same is being said for AJ Lee. Our memories of AJ Lee are stronger than what I think it actually was because yeah, she laid the groundwork for, coming out of the Divas era, but that window and that time frame has, been surpassed by leaps and bounds with the women that are wrestling now. I mean, just look at like what we saw on Dynasty. I mean, I think the Tekla Jamie Hayter match is 1,000 times better than either of these women's match is going to be. And, it's a shame because they've got some top talent there and they're living off the nostalgia that isn't, as good as, our memories serve. And, AJ Lee, she's another one, in 10 years, she's had 3 matches, one against Becky, one against Bailey, and here she is in a big time main event match. And is she going to pull her weight and step through, or is it going to look like a choreographed? I'm going to wait for my spot. You're going to do your spot. That's what I'm worried about. Like
I mean,
she
we've already
has,
seen this match. It's gonna
right,
look like that. We just
right.
saw it like what, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, last pay-per-view. So I'm gonna go get a snack during this match, and I'll be back when something actually happens.
Too bad we're not doing our snack segment anymore because we got some killer snacks lined up this weekend. And also, we don't have time for that. So, Suplex and Sauce died quickly. All right. Then we have a singles match, Seth Rollins versus Gunther. Wow, they're sending him to Gunther already. This is his retirement match. Is that what's happening here?
Not yet.
Well,
Has potential to be the decent match though.
I thought you were going to say it has the potential to be his retirement match. Like, he's going to break his knee again.
It should be good.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a spectacular match. I love the contrast of styles. Gunther being the big menacing heel, Rollins that wild card who can wrestle anybody if they give it the time. And Rollins doesn't have any ring rust. Give them 20 plus minutes, and you're going to have a spectacular match. I think next to MJF, Gunther's the best heel in wrestling. I think he's the best heel in WWE. And, this should be awesome and probably will be match of the night on night one. And I expect Seth Rollins to pick the win up here and set him on a path back towards the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, no arguments for me. I mean, it's probably going to be match of the night. I mean, Cody and Randy could have a good match, but if they're going to be utilizing Pat for interference
Blech.
and all that stuff,
Then we had the WWE's Women's World Title match, Stephanie McCour versus Liv Morgan. I'm sure you know, Joe, Charlotte got a concussion this last week. And I said, you know who else has a concussion? And she goes, Liv Morgan.
yeah,
She's walking around media with 2 black eyes right now, looking like a hot mess.
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
she is. How's this match
Stephanie's
going to go?
well, Stephanie's been hurt off and on too the last few months. So I mean, if they're both healthy, they can have a good match. But I don't know, man. Between Stephanie being hurt and Liv's concussion, this could be really quick.
It's probably
Yeah,
going to be super quick. It should be a starter match and shouldn't be at the end of the card.
I expected this to be like a really good match. As far as all of the builds for WrestleMania, I thought this one was like the most compelling. And, they had real heat with each other and it came off really well on TV. Unfortunate that Liv, got her face crushed in the Roxanne's face and, is now paying the price, but it's going to make for great TV. It's going to be a great visual when she comes out with two black eyes, and it's going to really show, like, man, the hatred for these two. I think it would be great. And I would like to see them, put the title on Liv and then follow it up next month with like a cage match, do something different and really solidify this as a big time feud, which WWE really hasn't done other than for the women, other than AJ Lee and Becky, and that's just been on the mic back and forth, hardly any physicality.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them put the belt on Liv. I mean, she's probably been her and Rhea are probably their two hottest, in terms of fan engagement, reaction, being over. So yeah, get the belt on her and let her run with it for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Then we're having a WWE undisputed WWE title match. Let's start that again. How many times can I say WWE? Then the final match of the night is going to be the undisputed WWE title match, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton with Pat McAfee. I really haven't followed much of the Pat McAfee stuff going on. I think Babe, you've sent me a couple of things, but I haven't really followed it. Like you guys said, I think this match does have potential, but with the interference of Pat McAfee, I think that's going to be annoying more than anything.
Yeah, rumors going around another injury here. The reports are Randy Orton's dealing with a significant injury heading into this match. So that could, determine where this match goes. I would expect Randy to win here and, you know, get another title reign, possibly his final title reign under his belt. The rumors are going into Backlash, it's going to be a tag match, Randy Orton and Pat McAfee versus Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll. So I would expect Randy to get the win here. But, if Randy can go, this should be a fun match, should be, entertaining. It wouldn't shock me if Cody got color here. And, we're definitely going to see Pat getting involved and probably Jelly Roll getting involved as well.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll is a more compelling story than AJ Lee and Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I think if they can eliminate the interference aspect of this, I think they can have. I mean, if it was me, have Pat get involved early, and if they're going to do Jelly Roll, have him take him out early, and then they can have a match. That's kind of the way I would like to see it go, but you never know with WWE.
All right, moving on to night two, we're going to get a singles match. The match I'm most looking forward to, Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi. We're definitely an Obafemi family here. Well, me and the kids. Do you like them, babe?
I like Oba. I think Oba should be skyrocketed. They should, treat him like they treated Brock Lesnar when he came in and dominated. I would expect this to go to Oba Femi and continue that push. And I'd expect Oba, potentially to be champion by SummerSlam, if not at SummerSlam, because, they're booking him to look like a monster. He's something to see. He's over. People love him. And Brock Lesnar is, coming towards the end of Brock Lesnar. And I think this is going to set up Gunther and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam because, I think Gunther is going to cash in a favor for Paul Heyman, and that favor is to be Brock Lesnar's final match and to put another notch in his belt. But yeah, this is going to be on ESPN. ESPN really pushed for this match because of Brock Lesnar. So I expect this to, I don't think it's going to be a very long match. So I would expect 5 minutes or less, but I think Opa's going to pick up the win.
Definitely, he has to.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be probably somewhere between 4 and 7 minutes. Big moves, showcase their strength, and you put Oba over here. That's the right call. Brock doesn't need the win for sure. So put this guy over on ESPN where there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on it. So that's the right call.
Then we have the WWE Intercontinental Title six-pack ladder match. It's going to be Penta versus Rey Mysterio versus JD McDonough or Finn Balor's poor man's Finn Balor versus Rusev versus Dragon Lee and Javon Evans. So if Penta doesn't win, he loses the title. Like whoever wins gets his title. Is he going to make it out still the champ? That's what I want to know.
Possible. I could see them giving Ray one last run and to set up, Ray and Dom, that final match, especially getting the Intercontinental title back on Dom. I could see it going that way. They had to book Mysterio because he finally got healthy, and chances are he'll probably get hurt during this match or right after this match. So, any chance they can strike and get him in a match, you got to do it. Javon Evans, this is a huge showcase match for him.
Yeah.
He has the potential to steal the show, do something spectacular. Same with Dragon Lee. I think both those guys are going to go out and, really do something here. I really wish instead of Rusev, they would have put either one of the Grande Americanos or even Phoenix. I think not having Phoenix and Penta, as a tag team, which I've, spoke at nauseum on this show about, or even just featuring him is a huge mistake and a huge letdown. But, you know, I expect Ray to get the win.
Why is Rusev in this match? I'm over him.
He's just in there to be a base for those guys to fly around, basically.
Someone's got to catch Javon Evans and Dragon Lee.
Rey Mysterio. Did you have anything to add to that, Joe?
No, I'm with Steve. I think it's going to be Penta or Ray, all depending on how healthy Ray is. So I think it has the potential to be a really good, exciting match, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we're going to have the WWE United States title match, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. Let's talk about this match. Is it exciting? Is it going to be promising? Where does it rank?
I think it has the potential to be a good match. I mean, Trick's, like I said, he's going to be in there with a veteran like Sami Zayn who can carry him. Do they pull the trigger here? Maybe, possibly. We'll see. But I think it definitely has the potential to be a good fun match.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. It should be, the making of Trick Williams here and should start to signify the build to next year, where if we're going to pull the trigger on Sami Zayn, what better place to do it than next year in Saudi Arabia? So, I mean, I would expect that to be the route they're going to go, but, time will tell. But Trick Williams, he's been getting a lot of rub from Triple H. Triple H was in an interview today where he said he had no idea what the hell lemon pepper steppers are. And he was like, if Trick Williams is doing something cool, it's certainly not from me, which we all know that to be the case. But, you know, I think Trick Williams' entrance is going to look spectacular at WrestleMania. He's going to have little Yachty with him, so he'll get the celebrity rub. And, I expect Trick Williams to go over in what should be a really good match.
Then we're having the WWE Women's title match, Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. If Rhea does not win, I will be so upset. That's my only thought. She needs to.
Yeah, that's the right call.
The only thing I think would prevent Rhea from winning is, what's Rhea really going through right now? She announced on social media that she's dealing with an eating disorder, and that's why she's lost a lot of her mass and a lot of her muscle, and she's really leaned out, starting to look more and more like a Charlotte Flair. So if she's not well, either physically or mentally, I could see them using this to, give Jade another shot at getting over. Another thing I've touched on continuously on here is, tell me what has changed from when Jade Cargill lost the TBS title to Statlander to Jade Cargill right now. All that talk about going to the Performance Center, being under the learning tree of Shawn Michaels and, the Performance Center and all the tools they have, it hasn't done her any good. She can't cut a good promo. She can't hold her own in the ring. She can't get anybody else over. The best part of Jade is her entrance and her look. She looks like a superhero, but she can't wrestle like a wrestler. And I think he is starting to see that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think Rhea's managing her eating disorder well because she's still in the gym. If she wasn't eating, she'd have no energy. So, and I think part of the problem too with her, she's probably of all the girls in AEW and WWE, she probably wears the least amount of ring gear. So she's probably self-conscious too about her look. So I'm sure there's a lot of things going on there, but hopefully she's in a good spot, physically and mentally. So all the best to her.
Yeah, definitely. Then we have a singles match, Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. I'm actually kind of excited for this match. I am a fan of both of these guys. Are we going to get the Demon Finn Balor? My God, I can't wait. I used to hate the Demon, but now I like him. So.
That'd be a cool entrance, no doubt.
Yeah, it'd be really cool if they did the New Japan version where, they brought him out in the casket and he came out like that. I think that would be cool, but that's my nostalgia speaking here. This should be an absolutely fantastic match. I expect Finn to get the win. He hasn't won at WrestleMania in some time. And, this could lead to, a future challenge for the Mega Championship down in AAA if he picks up the win, and Dom could get the rematch win if they go that route. But yeah, this should be awesome. I wish we would get Dom wrestling more, but we don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Finn wins. I like the idea to set up a rematch, in AAA. I think that would be cool to see Finn down in Arena Mexico or down in Mexico in general.
It would be cool to see Finn in Arena Mexico.
I know, wrong company though.
We just got a Dom action figure this weekend from Walmart. It's a good looking one too. Then we had the WWE World Heavyweight title match, or we're going to have, sorry, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. Does CM Punk have to do any talking? Like, could we have a little bit of a break and just see wrestling and no mic work?
Zebros.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They were the Zebros. Zootopia 2, Joe. You probably didn't watch it.
No,
You're missing it, something.
Yeah, I think this build has been good. As someone who, waved the CM Punk flag for 20 years, you know, I am no longer waving that flag. Once the AEW run ended, I kind of like lost my interest in Phil. It's, you can't preach what you preach all those years and say what you say and then just completely go back and do the complete opposite of everything. I felt that's completely anti CM Punk, and you got to do what's best for you. But you know, I'm hoping Roman Reigns wins. Where this leaves CM Punk afterwards, not sure. It'll be interesting to see where he goes if he loses the title, because we all know we're not going to be seeing Roman on each and every pay-per-view on ESPN if he picks up the win. But I would expect, this to end with Roman in the center of the ring, surrounded with a new bloodline. And I could see, the Usos and either Jacob or Jacob and Tama with him in this new bloodline.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to see Roman Reigns as champion again after the last time, but it's probably what's going to happen. Who knows? I mean, they could surprise us. There could be a surprise return. I don't know anything. I'm just speculating. You never know, all depending on what their plans are going forward. So, but I agree with Steve. I think it's going to be probably Roman again, unfortunately. So
Well, we all know Hulk Hogan's not coming out and cashing that in and getting a 21-second win at the end of this WrestleMania.
nope, nope,
Nope.
that's for sure.
I love Roman Reigns, so I hope he wins.
I mean, it should be a good match. It should be a decent WrestleMania card. I mean, let's see how they let these matches play out. I mean, because, what we've seen in the TKO era for, pay-per-view shows is less matches, more time for those matches. So now that they're back to having more matches on this card, are the match times going to be cut in half, or are we going to get like a full show with some people really giving serious time, or are some of these matches that we think should go 15, 20 minutes only going to get 7 to 9 minutes instead? That's the big question to see. What's the time going to be like between matches? Because previously, it's been a UFC style gap in between each and every match. So are they still going to have that? Is it going to be more of a seamless wrestling show feel? All things that'll have to play out right in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have those big video packages, in between every match. So I think it's gonna be a detriment, because they're gonna cut some matches short where they could have given it some extra time. But that's their model. We've been used to it for years now.
Entertainment, not wrestling.
Right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast, from the classics to the chaos, from WrestleMania 1 all the way to breaking down WrestleMania 49. We covered it all.
If you rocked with us today, make sure you stay connected with the show.
You can find us at Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Pod on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. You can check us out on X. Steve live tweets during a lot of the major shows. That's M WrestlePod. And you can send us an email with your questions, comments, complaints to Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling Pod at gmail.com.
Slide into the comments, hit us with your predictions, your hot takes, or tell us where we're completely wrong, because you already know we're going to respond. I definitely will.
Don't forget, whether you agree with us or not, we're always still right.
We'll catch you next time. The end.
Okay, serious question. How do people let everyone know they're listening to the hottest wrestling podcast in the game?
That's easy. They stop yelling it at strangers in Target and they go to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Boom. See? Growth, maturity, merch?
That's right. The official Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling podcast shirts are live. Fresh designs, soft tees, drip approved.
Perfect for WrestleMania watch parties.
Perfect for AEW, WWE, TNA, and even New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-views.
Perfect for when you're cutting a promo in your living room.
Or when you're reminding your spouse you were right about that heel turn.
I was right.
Debatable.
What's not debatable? You need this shirt.
Head over to Pro Wrestling Tees and grab yours now.
Support the podcast.
Rep the brand.
And join the Mr. and Mrs. Wrestling family.